Alright, I'm going to make this video short and sweet. Okay. I'm sure most of you guys out there have heard these two words put together before. I know I have several times. Okay. Look at this scenario. You ask out a girl, you go on a date, and so on. So after the date, or after you went out with her a few times, she may tell you that she's not interested in you, or that she doesn't want to date anybody right now. And then she says, well, we can be friends. That right there is a lie. Do you really think that a girl would want to be friends with somebody that likes her? No, she doesn't. Look at it this way. If you wasn't good enough to have a life and a relationship with this girl, then why would you be good enough to be her friend? She doesn't want you to be her friend. She don't even want to know you. A lot of women out there lie to a guy in order to spare his feelings, like this girl would do when she says she just wants to be friends, even though she doesn't. Hell, most girls won't even try to do that. They'll just straight up tell you that they don't want to know you. There was this girl once that I went on a date with, and after several dates, she told me that she only wanted to be friends. And you know what I did after I heard that? I deleted her off my phone, I blocked her off MySpace, and I threw her number in the garbage, because she didn't want to be friends with me. And the next time you hear a girl say, let's just be friends, you do exactly what I do.
Anyways, yeah, he wants female friends, which is crazy. There's no such thing as a female friend. I mean, my sister was the exception to the rule. My sister that passed away this year, she was 50 when she passed away, and she actually was the type that could be friends with a guy because she was very well grounded in her psychology. But in a general rule, no, you can't. There's no such thing as female friends. Because every guy in the back of his mind is looking for a relationship, and he's looking for this. So anyways,
okay, now I know there's a lot of men out there, a lot of men that's going to agree with both of these videos. Okay, Midnight Sunshade was correct in what he was saying, because it is going on, and it is just that way in today's society, and it shouldn't be that way. Okay, no lie, and it shouldn't be that way, but it is that way. For years I've been talking about social engineering and programming. Human beings are programmable, and anybody that denies that is clearly not living in reality. Okay, greed. I think everybody knows what greed is. And greed does what? It absolutely corrupts. Power. I think you all know what power is. Somebody's ability to want to be in control. Greed and power sort of go hand in hand. They go together, don't they? Yep. Corruption. People becoming control freaks. Okay. NWO, which a lot of people are still sound asleep to and think it's all just a big joke. It's all conspiracy theory. There's nothing true about it at all. That might be what Steve Hoke could tell you, because he absolutely does not look into anything outside of what's in his present life. If he had actually looked into anything and opened his eyes and just paid attention to what was going on around him, he would have actually got a big awakening. But he didn't want to do that because maybe he was too scared to wake up. I don't know. Steve Hoke has done a lot of really good videos when it comes to dating topics. And Steve Hoke has done a lot of great videos and a lot of great work that way, and said a lot of very accurate stuff, okay, to what's going on, the present condition of our society, symptoms, Okay, that's really what Steve talks about, is the symptoms. Okay? But the reason I wanted to get into this is because when you look at what Steve Hoka said, okay, men and women cannot just be friends. And you look at Midnight Sunshades talking about his experiences with women, that women don't want to be a friend with somebody who likes them. Now, not that either one of these two guys have said anything wrong, because they clearly haven't. They have clearly, both of these guys have told you from their experiences what they see and what's going on. But I've addressed some things recently that a lot of people don't want to look at, and I've said this thousands of times to people. But the truth is the truth, okay? When it comes right down to it, social engineering and programming to divide and conquer. I know you're going to say I'm talking conspiracy BS again. Okay, but if that's a conspiracy and that's complete BS, then we know that greed is a conspiracy and that's complete BS. We know the power is a conspiracy and that's complete BS. We know that man can't fly, so there is no such thing as an airplane, a jet, or an airport. That's just a complete nonsense. It's hogwash. It's bullshit. Oh, you mean I got carried away? Yeah, I would sort of be acting like you people who want to say that what I'm about to tell you is wrong. I'm only going with your same mentality. Your very own mentality when I tell you that man cannot fly. There is no such thing as an airplane. I mean, it's just impossible. Man cannot fly. There's no such thing as an airport. There is no such thing as power. People don't want to control other people or tell people what to do. No, that would never happen in a million years. And greed? Nah. Everybody wants to be equal. Okay. Now I'm through being sarcastic, but I have to say it this way if I'm going to get somebody to back up and listen to what I'm trying to tell you. For you people like Steve Hoka, who don't look any further than in his own personal experiences and refuses to look into or investigate or just don't want to acknowledge for whatever reason, whether it scares him. I don't know. I don't want to second guess him. Steve Hoka's done a lot of great work and I know he means well, but I'm not going to second guess why he don't look into things for himself. I'm not going to go there because I have no idea. I'm not in the guy's mind. I'm not in his head. I don't know, and I'm not going to guess for him, and I'm not going to assume for him. Okay, because then I stick my foot in my mouth, okay? Because for whatever reason Steve has chosen, Steve does not look into these things. The sad thing is these very things that has shaped and molded all of us, and is the reason you're seeing these behaviors going on. I've said it and I'll say it again. Social engineering, social programming, moving in baby steps from generation to generation, long-term plans, planning things 100 years in advance in family bloodlines. The people who actually are controlling this world, the people who are having all the say-so and controlling all of the media, controlling the school systems, controlling the books and the magazines and everything that's ever put in your face that you have learned your entire life from the time you was born. That includes myself, of course, because it's 100-year plans. Easy. You say, that's a conspiracy theory. Nobody would do that. That's for you people who say that. It just shows they got you right where they want you because you're not willing to look into anything. So when you say that, just remember there is no such thing as greed. There is no such thing as power. Nobody would ever want to control somebody. That's right. Nobody would ever want to steal everything for themselves. No, and there is no such thing as planes. Okay, now I'm through the sarcasm again, but that is directed to you people who would say that kind of stuff. Social engineering is their ability to shape and mold you from the time you're a child and brainwash people in mass numbers, entire populations. They have perfected it to an art. It's no different than MK Ultra, mind control. Oh, but they shut that program down years ago. Yeah, they just gave it a new name and moved on with it. They never shut it down. They just gave it a new name. Manipulated you into believing they had when they haven't. Easily done, because they knew you wouldn't look into anything. So social engineering, programming. So now let me break down why I brought all that up to go with what you just heard Midnight Sunshade say and Steve Oka say. Because it's through the social engineering and the programming that is shaped and changed us all. So you take a poll, I'll use the ink pen for one side, to you people, I know a lot of people have already heard me say this, but I'm going to say it again for those who have not, okay? Social engineering is nothing more than programming. They've set certain programming that they put into society from the time we were children and the time our parents were children and their parents were children and their parents were children. This started that far back, if not even further than that, okay? But just to give you an example. So, in baby steps, they implement their programming through music, through books and magazines, through your school system that you went to school your whole life when you were growing up as a kid, as a child, that's right. Through your television set, through everything around you, onto masses, whole populations of people. So everybody's getting the same programming. With that programming, with the genders, we have divided the genders. The feminist movement wasn't an accident. It wasn't because women were fighting for equal rights. That was a psyop, a lie. It was never ever about that, not at all. It was about breaking up the family unit and putting the women in the workplace so the very thieves that are taking your tax money could tax the other half of the population, because they're the ones collecting that money. And breaking up the family unit. That was the beginning of the division of the genders. The destruction of our society, the destruction of the family unit, the destruction of relationships. So let's talk about relationships. So I'm going to hold the poll up again. So that programming was one side is men, the other side is women. That's how it was dished out in society. Now, when you look at the picture in front of you, what you see is everybody tells you there's a war on women. This is what your media pushes. The media pushes war on women. But everything's upside down on its head. The real war is actually on both genders, men and women, both of us. But you don't see that. They report to you and push it through society that the war's been against women, while the actual real war is being perpetrated against men. But at the same time, it's against both of us. And you say, no, I'm not making no sense. Yeah, I'm going to give you examples of how this works out. Okay? It works out pretty easily, actually. We perpetrated the war on women and gave you the feminist movement. Women fighting for equal rights. Giving women more rights. We feminized the man, turning the man into a woman, and turning the woman into a man. Messing things up completely. Okay? We do that through a number of things. Okay? Through your foods. through hormones. That's right. Through a number of things, programming, engineering, to mess people up. And it's worked, okay? So what we've done is that's just one step. Now we've got the feminist movement, right? Fighting for women's rights, right? Okay? Now, at the same time we're fighting for women's rights, we're going to use your Hollywood and your media, and we're going to create sitcoms and movies, and we're going to use the music industry and create songs. Our songs are going to be dedicated to the women. That's right. You know, the one that's being suppressed, the one being pushed down. You know, the biggest victim, the woman. According to the feminist movement, and the songs would be dedicated to the women. So you have all these love songs and how beautiful the woman is and this about the woman. Okay? Then you take gender roles and you add that to it. Then you take and look at the real picture. In Hollywood, what have you seen? We have a channel called Lifetime Network. The Lifetime Network. I actually call it the Male Bashing Network. That's right. Because we've conditioned everybody that the man is the provider and the protector. Have we not? Yes, we have. The man's the one that takes responsibility. Have we not? Yes, we have. But we've put women in that same place now. You've completely messed people up. So now let's look at this. I'm going to ask you all a simple question. What is a relationship? Now, I was saying that one time. What is a relationship, right? Can a relationship be two people, whether it's girl, or guy and guy, that are just friends? Nothing more. You know what Midnight Sunshade said? Just friends. Isn't that a relationship? Now I'm asking you a question you think for yourself, and I'll give you the answer. Yes. See, we've twisted the meanings. We've turned everything upside down on its head. I mean everything. So, yes, you went to school as a kid. Didn't you have your best friend? Most likely for the girls, she had her best friend. Wasn't her best friend another girl? Yeah. It wasn't you boys, you little kids, as you're growing up, your boys. Didn't you have another boy that was your best friend? You just hung out, went and did things with? You know, you went and played baseball together, basketball, what have you, and hung out together? And you girls, I mean, you did your things when you were a kid growing up with your best friend and you hung out together? Yeah. You know what that was? That was a relationship. It sure was. Yeah, it was. It was a relationship. This is where they have stifled you, manipulated you, and fooled you, and twisted the meanings around, and twisted the wording around, and confused, and messed people up. Because that best friend you had when you were a kid to all you guys, and that best friend you had when you were a kid to all you women, they were the same gender, wasn't they? They sure was. Now, I'm not talking about once your hormones developed and you started wanting to get into a relationship with your opposite gender and you wanted it to go further to where it becomes an intimate relationship and love, companionship, and you wanted to create a family. This is where they stifled you all. Because, you know, you have a relationship with your mom and your dad. But you love your mom and you love your dad, but you don't love them in that way that you would your significant other, your mate, your best friend. A lot of times, you don't love them in that way. You might love them like you do your mom and dad. Do you follow what I'm saying? You don't love them in that way. You're not taking it to that next level. It's still a relationship. Okay, now, dating. What is dating? In today's society, they're going to tell you, well, it's my ability to meet her, and then if I get lucky, what did I say? If I get lucky, yep, if you get lucky, you might get your dick in a hole. She might get naked with you. You just destroyed what dating was originally about. You twisted it, you manipulated it, you flipped it, you destroyed it. It's not about getting lucky. It was never intended for getting lucky. We have over-sexualized society completely. When you over-sexualize the society and you take the meanings to words and you twist and you manipulate and you mess with things that shouldn't be messed with, then you confuse populations of people, especially when they're children growing up and they're just learning. Now, remember I told you this goes back, all this stuff started in my mom's and her mom's mom and her mom's mom's time. That's how far back this goes. See, so the problem with what Midnight Sunshade said, even though he's correct, women are acting that way and doing just that. But they're doing just that because of programming, social engineering. That thing you all turned your back to, NWO. The thing that you don't want to look into. The root cause of why people act the way they act. See, the problem with what Steve said a couple of days ago is this is why. What Midnight Sunshade said, what women are doing. And they are doing it. He's correct. He didn't lie to you. Midnight Sunshade was correct. He made that video probably 8, 9 years ago. Yeah. That video you saw with Midnight Sunshades is about 8 or 9 years old. Easy. But yet, 2 days ago, Steve Hoka said, what? What did you hear him say? Yep, can't be friends. Men and women can't be friends. Do you know what a date's originally about? Getting to know that woman. Her getting to know you. To see if you have things in common. That if you could become what? If you could become what? Friends. You wonder why you can't find real love? Oh, you think you find it because she's automatically got to be sexually turned on to you. It's got to be lust. You got to lust for the flesh. And that's going to get you love. No, that's not. You can look at somebody in 1 to 5 seconds, already know you're taking off the clothes with your eyes. Isn't that right, men and women? You both do it. Oh, don't sit and say you don't, because you both know you'll be lying if you said it. That includes you, women. And all men. And women. You know full well you're looking at an image. And you're lusting over an image. Whether it's undressing each other, Whether if it's, they got a Rolex watch. What are they driving? Is it a Lamborghini? What kind of clothes they got? Is it at least in fashion? You know, for you ones that are chasing greed, money, monetary, materialistic items. And for the ones chasing flesh, look, take that clothes off. Y'all done that in 1 to 5 seconds, didn't you? That's what you're basing your relationships on. And because you're basing your relationships on them things, this is why society's so messed up. This is why we're in the condition we're in. Because the woman that does just what Midnight Sunshade's talked about, who dates you 2 or 3 times and says, can we just be friends? And she runs right out and dates somebody else and never has anything to do with you again. See, understand something. Dating was about getting to know one another to see if you had things incompatible with each other for companionship, friendship, when you could have things in common and you could go out and do things together and make each other laugh and have a good time. You might go on a second date and a third date. You might date for 4 or 5 years. You might date for a decade before you make a commitment with each other. You might date for 2 or 3 years before you ever get lucky. Yeah. There's the real truth in your face. So when Steve Hoka told you, we cannot be friends, he's doing exactly what the social engineering, men and women, the Apollo programming on both sides, he's falling right into that programming. He's doing exactly what he's been programmed to do. What he perceives and sees, everything around him, has been conditioned. This is what I'm trying to tell you is simple. It's so simple if you just open your eyes and really school yourself and really pay attention to what's going on. This was deliberately done. Why do you think pornography is everywhere? Why do you think Hollywood male bashes? Because I can show you literally thousands of movies and sitcoms male bashing, male bashing, male bashing, male bashing. I can show you media laughing at the abuse on the men. I can show you double standards on a non-stop list against the male gender. I can also show you the corruption against the female gender that makes them angry at men, that makes men angry at women. I can show you why this stuff's going on, and I can tell you till I'm blue in the face. But I cannot change it. You have to change it by understanding what's really happened. By going for the root cause. So, you know, this would be, so you people like Steve Hoka, I'll use Steve Hoka for an example here, okay? So, Steve, if your vehicle broke down, okay, and you wasn't sure what was causing it, and it wouldn't start, and you kept trying to start it and kept trying to start it, and it wouldn't start, and you did everything you knew how, right, Steve? And it still wouldn't start. You'd probably most likely call a garage or mechanic to fix your vehicle, would you not? Most likely you would. To find out what's wrong with your vehicle. So if the windings inside your starter are bad and they're pulling too many amps from the battery, and killing it. So it goes click, 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 no start no more. Would you like the mechanic to go ahead and replace your battery and charge you for new battery and give you your vehicle back, Steve? Then, when the new battery's dead, you're going, what the heck? It won't start it. The only reason it started first time is you got lucky. The new battery had a lot of amps and it started it, but you got down the road and you turned it over and it wouldn't start no more. It was click, 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 click. You took it back and told the mechanic he messed up. So the mechanic's going to go ahead now and sell you an alternator, Steve. You do want to buy a new alternator, right, Steve? Now you got a new battery and a new alternator. You paid the mechanic to install the new battery. You paid the mechanic to install the new alternator. And you still got the same problem. Because you didn't go after the root cause. See, the root cause, the underlying cause, was the starter. Not the battery or the alternator. Now, I gave that as an example and used Steve's example because this is what we have done. See, what we're looking at in our face when we look at Lifetime Network and all the male bashing, when we look at the sitcoms and we look at all the double standards and we look at the reality when they say it's a war on women, it's actually a war on men. If you was to look at the outside symptom, the face cover, you would see a war on men. You'd be told it was a war on women, and that would cause fighting amongst each other, which is what you're seeing happening. When in reality, it's a war against both of us, perpetrated by that conspiracy theory that you've been turning your back to. And that's the reason you couldn't find the root cause. And that's the reason these issues will continue to go on and 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 on for year after year, year after year, decade after decade, until we wind up killing each other off. What for? All for a group of people. Oh, that's right. There is no such thing as power and greed. There is no such thing as airports. Man can't fly. I know I was sarcastic again. I can't think of any other way to get you to actually realize what I'm telling you. Midnight Sunshade told you the concrete truth right in your face. Steve told you basically the same thing Midnight Sunshade told you, didn't he? He sure did. That's the reason I showed you that. But both of them, even though they told you out of everything I've just said. The only thing that we can do is recognize right from wrong. This applies to all of us, men and women alike. Recognize right from wrong. Do unto one as you want done unto yourself. Has nothing to do with gender. Okay? Seriously, it has nothing to do with gender. Recognize right from wrong. Do unto one as you want done unto yourself. Ditch the programming completely. Doesn't matter what society's told you, what your media says, what the music says, everybody around you says, throw it away. It's all garbage. Understand what a real relationship is. A relationship is the little boy and little boy at school that are best friends. The little girl and little girl at school that are best friends. A man and a man growing adults that are best friends. A woman and a woman that are adults that are best friends. A man and a woman that are friends. Oh, but that's no such thing. Yes, there is. See, when you go on a date A date's supposed to be about getting to know one another. If you have enough things incompatible with each other that you can go out and have fun and do things together and enjoy each other's company, sometimes later as you're doing this, you discover you have this in common, that in common, but that's not in common and that's not in common, and you have different dislikes and likes, which is normal, perfectly normal. Love don't develop, and it's not there, and it's not meant to be. Now what you've done is you've created a friend. She moves on and you move on, and you meet somebody else and you go on a date and you do that again. And then if that don't work out, you've got potentially another friend, and you move on to another date and you do the same thing until it's compatible, till everything falls together, till you've dated for however long you've dated, and you get feelings for each other on the next level. When you get feelings for each other on the next level, then you move to that next level. See, that's what it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be what you're seeing. See, technically, Steve and Midnight Sunshade should be wrong. They told you the truth based on what's going on. But what's going on has been shaped. It's corruption. It's to destroy. It's to destroy the relationship. It's to break up the family unit. It's to destroy friendship. It's to divide and conquer. It's that damn conspiracy theory that you people don't want to look into. So just remember the root cause. Because I know Steve would love to buy a battery and then buy an alternator just because the starter was bad, right? And then buy a starter. Right? Right? Okay, now I'm being sarcastic again, but I got to be that way because it's the only way I can think of to get you to back up and think. Use your own brain and think. It's not going to be easy because it's all been put into us programming, social engineering, and that's what social engineering is. NWO is as real as that airport is. As real as that vehicle that Steve Hoka climbs into to drive himself around in. It's as real as that bed he lays down in at night. The people behind it are not the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds, as Steve would tell you from not looking into anything. It's not one person doing this to us. Really pay attention. Do you believe that Trump is the one running this country? If you believe that, you have a lot of schooling to do yet. Because you're clearly not awake. But let's not even go into that topic. This was dating scene related. But to understand what's going on, you have to look for the root cause. And as long as you turn your head to real truth, because you want to call it a conspiracy theory, call somebody a nut job, turn your back and not look into anything for yourself because you're too lazy to, then you will stay dumb and you will continue to do dumb things that dumb people do. If you don't want to stay dumb, then I suggest you look into things. I'm not saying you have to do what I'm doing, be an activist and talk out and tell people anything. I'm not telling you what to believe. I'm telling you to open your eyes and look. But everything I said about what I just talked about, what Midnight Sunshade told you and what Steve told you, is all factual truth. If you want to know what happened to the men and women, you want to know what happened to our family unit, and of course this goes a whole lot deeper than that. Because then we had to jump into, I could do a whole nother, that'll be another video, okay? Couples that are together in family court system and no fault divorce. But anyhow, with that being said, I'm going to get out of here. You all have a good one.